I'd like to talk about a concept that if you get into it, it can really change how you view the world. So, let's talk more about that. In this episode, I want to talk about a thing called UPR, or Unconditional Positive Regard. It was created by a psychologist called Carl Rogers, and I'm going to put this in very normal language so it's easy to understand. Now, although UPR, or Unconditional Positive Regard, is a counselling theory and practice, it can actually apply to everybody walking around. And if you truly take this on board, how you look at things and how you feel about things will truly change. Now, what is unconditional positive regard? Well, the way Carl Rogers explained this was that, and he was coming at it from a therapist perspective, that if the therapist is sitting across from the client and the client is talking about something that's going on in their life, something that's happening for them, well, what we shouldn't do as therapists, or what as a therapist shouldn't do, is put their life experiences onto the client's difficulties, because they don't match. Because a therapist's background might be very different, or their experiences might be very different from what the client is talking about. So if the therapist tries to put their perspective on a client's difficulties, there's disharmony. So what he said instead to do was, if you can think how it must be for that person sitting opposite you, think about their life, their upbringing, their lessons that they've been told by many people, their experiences, what maybe their home life is like, what their job is like, what their belief in themselves is like. If you truly try and put yourself in their shoes, Carl Rogers said, even if you do that, you'll only be getting a glimpse of what it's really like for them. So you can adapt this into your life. And I want to explain what I mean by this. If you're with someone who's suffering, or you're with a friend who's telling you about something that's on the mind, if you bump into someone, you're talking to someone in the street, whatever it may be, so it can be someone you know, someone you don't know. If you apply UPR in your thought process to this, your thought process will be different. You'll probably find you have more empathy, which is different to sympathy. You'll find you'll have more empathy, you'll have a better understanding, because you'll be removing you from the equation. So I'll give you an example. The other day I was walking down the street and a homeless person walked past me. Now and it was a woman as well, which is quite unusual to see. And as the homeless person walked past me, there was a terrible smell of urine coming from them. And they had all the possessions in bags as they shuffled past me. Now it was difficult to gauge the age of this woman walking past me. She could have been anywhere between 40 to 60. It was really difficult. Her hair was very matted. And I only caught the face from a brief moments before she shuffled past. Now I noticed as I was looking at this, because it was such an unusual sight, because you don't really see many homeless women, I noticed other people were looking quite disgusted as they walked past her. They were looking down the nose at her. Now, no one said anything to her, but you could tell that just the fact she was walking past was having a reaction on other people, not a very positive one. But I automatically do this, and I should do this because this is my job. But I just thought for a second, I wonder what it must be like for that woman, what she must have been through to be living on the streets, being homeless, carrying her possessions around in a bag. What it must be like for her to be unable to get a wash, change clothes, to have any form of personal hygiene. I wonder what it must be like for her to try and find somewhere to sleep at night. Does she go to a hostel? Is she on the streets? Is it in a cardboard box? And all these thoughts just ran through my mind very quickly. And I couldn't help thinking, what a difficult life she must have. I had a totally different viewpoint. Now that doesn't make me better than anyone else. It's just because I'm applying UPR, or unconditional positive regard, to that kind of situation. So, for yourself, I would encourage you to test this on for size yourself. I don't like the word try for people who know me, but test this on for size for yourself. When you're out and about, if someone cuts you up in a car, you can get really angry. Or you could possibly think, well, maybe that person's in a bit of a rush. Maybe they've had a bad day. Maybe they've got to be somewhere. Maybe they've slept in. And maybe there's an emergency. It changes how you view things. And when you change how you view things in this way, a part of you changes inside. And what you'll probably find is that a part of you just becomes more accepting. It becomes a lot calmer, a lot more peaceful, and definitely more empathy. All right? So try this on for size. So if you've liked this video, please remember to do the like, the share, and the subscribe. I ask this in every video, but it really does help the channel. And if you think of anyone who this might help, send it to them as well. All right? So UPR changes how, and it does change how you think completely. I will see you on the next episode. I hope you're enjoying this one. This is James, and this is Write Your Own Story. Bye-bye.